Welcome back, everyone. We continue our tour in Vietnam, and this episode will have a little bit of everything.
We kick off in the famous Halong Bay, head down to the imperial city of Hue, and wind up in a tailor's shop in the town of Hoi An. Come on along for the ride.
When planning our trip to Vietnam, we were kind of looking at the different places we wanted to go and looking at some of the different tours and where they go, and we found a G Adventures tour that covered most of everything we wanted to see in Vietnam, as well as it was on sale. So we jumped on it and we started this tour.
Now, our first stop was a pretty famous destination. If you look up any YouTube on what to see in Vietnam, everyone says you got to go to Halong Bay. You got to spend a night here on the water. So that is among our very first stops with our tour group. And you can tell a lot of folks have watched those same YouTube videos because there were a lot of boats here, although maybe not quite as crowded as I thought it might be.
With over 1,900 islands and the steep karst limestone formations, it was quite scenic. Even though we didn't get sunshine, it was cloudy, but it was still very scenic, very nice view.
So we had a small boat just for our G Adventures tour. Got a shot of the boat here somewhere. Here we go. No, that's not it. No, I don't think that's it either. No. Okay, there, that's our boat, yeah. Actually, it was a really nice little boat, really good service, really good food, and a good chance to get to know our fellow travelers a bit as we cruised around the bay.
The crew even put up a Christmas tree just to get us in the Christmassy spirit, and we did this tour about mid-December.
We also took them up on the optional kayaking in one of the bays and had a little cruise before we anchored for the night. Here's a few more shots of Halong Bay. Next morning we had breakfast and finished things up with a quick tour of a cave nearby, and it was time to head back to shore. What'd you make of this part of the trip?
I enjoyed it. I had big expectations, I think, and it wasn't kind of met those expectations. We didn't have the best weather. It was cool and cloudy. It was very touristy, a lot of other boats, and also I was a little bit under the weather, so that all contributed a bit. So it's kind of one of those places, maybe if you don't have much time, don't worry about seeing it, but I think some people still really enjoy it.
Didn't quite live up to the YouTube hype, I don't think, but still a fun night on the water.
After leaving Halong Bay, we took the overnight train to Hue, the old capital city. Our first stop here was a tour of the old citadel, which was very neat. It's kind of under restoration, but there's lots to see.
So this was the capital from, I think, 1802 and right up until 1945. And also of note, it was the site of one of the major battles of the Tet Offensive during the Vietnam War. So you can still see bullet holes in some of the walls in the garden here. But major restoration efforts in the last few decades here. They've rebuilt a couple of the palaces and continue to work on that. So a neat stop and a glimpse of Vietnamese history here from that era. Our next stop was the town of Hoi An, which is famous for its hundreds of tailors. The thing to do here is to go in and get yourself a custom tailored suit or shirts. I'm not really a suit guy, but I do love colorful patterns, and I managed to talk Holly into a visit to the tailor to get ourselves some matching outfits, which fit incredibly well. I was so impressed. So a really good purchase there. A suit costs you about $200 American here. We got our two matching outfits for about $350 Canadian. I probably could have bargained a little harder. I was just excited to get ourselves some matching outfits. And also a chance to meet the shop cat, who is making himself very much at home. So a big shout out to Annie at Blue Eye Tailors, who helped get us outfitted.
The city of Hoi An, the old part of the town, is actually really neat. It's like walking these little streets, and there's all these boats out on kind of the river. So it's really picturesque. There's a couple old museums that you can wander into. The Japanese bridge there is pretty famous. And so we wandered around town despite the heavy rain. We made a go of it, and really kind of enjoyed the city. All the lanterns and lights. It's a very pretty place. I think it would be even better with nice weather. We did get a bit of a break in the rain, and our hotel had some bikes that you could use. So we actually biked the 3 or 4 kilometers to the beach and got to see it. The water was a bit rough. It was still a bit stormy and cloudy and a bit cool, but it was just nice to get out from the city and see the beach. I think it would be really nice kind of in a couple months when it's more the season for the beach weather there. As part of any G-Adventure tour, there's usually a stop at a kind of not-for-profit organization or a community organization as G-Adventures tries to put back into the community that they're touring around. And this one was Oodles and Noodles. It's a organization that helps underprivileged youth. They have a residence for them, and then they teach them English, and they learn hospitality skills.
So here it was a noodle making workshop. We learned all the steps of making rice noodles, from pouring out sort of your, I guess we'd call it a batter, to steam it for about 10 seconds, and then take your pancake off, let it cool and dry, run it through the noodle slicer. Really enthusiastic team here. Really enjoyed our noodle making lesson. We were ready for a job at the noodle factory.
We're going to stop it there for this episode. Next episode, we'll cover Ho Chi Minh City, also known as Saigon.
Here we learn a bit more about the Vietnam War, including a visit I've been looking forward to for a long time, a visit to the tunnels. Will we fit? Hit like and subscribe. Find out next time. We'll see you soon.